Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers, and a special shout out to everybody else passing through. YouTube, what's good? All right, so came through to do a review on the latest Meek Mill album, Championships. Um, Album's pretty dope. I actually have some touch points here I want to make sure that I cover because there's a lot of shit with this album. It's a lot of jewels, it's a lot of hidden things. And what's funny, a lot of the things I'm gonna mention on this album, I didn't catch it on first listen. What I usually like to do is I like to listen to an album track by track in order from intro to outro. And before I do a review on it, I like to listen to it a second time. At least the songs that I really liked and the ones that I felt I wanted to be sure on if I liked them or not. And on second listen, there's a few of these tracks that I noticed some shit about that when I realized it, it made the track that much. Well, we'll get into it. All right, so Champions dropped on Friday, last Friday, I believe. Nah, it might have been today. Yeah, it dropped today, Friday the 30th. The intro, fire. The intro was fire. First of all, before I even get into that, the reason why I listened, so I looked for the album a few days ago because I heard an interview, or I watched the interview. Listened to an interview online. I'm all over the place. I listened to an interview online with Meek Mill. He was talking about the album. He was actually on Big Boy Radio, and I went looking for the album. Wasn't there. Wasn't out yet. Then late last night after midnight, I was reading a news article. A news article was talking about the championship album, specifically how Hove is on one of the tracks, and he's, I guess, taking stabs at Kanye. So, so immediately I went to the album because anytime they say Hove drop the verse, oh fuck. Anytime they say Hove drop the verse, my computer's restarting itself. Anytime they say Hove drop the verse, I need to hear it, right? Because Hove is on his super conscious shit lately. So I went to the album, went to the track, and I'm gonna start here, then I'm gonna go back to the beginning and work my way back through the album. So I'm gonna start at the track, What's Free. This is the track that Hove, Meek Mill, and Rick Ross is on together. And I went to this song specifically to see if there were shots being thrown at Ye, and if so, what were they? Because the article that I was reading made mention of them, and it had some of the quotes in there. But I wanted to hear the track just to see, you know what I'm saying, how it sounded. So I pulled up the album on Spotify, went straight to the track list. I went to the song "What's Free." The first time I went to the song, didn't notice anything about it really. We're just listening through the verses. Jay, I believe, went last. I like this verse, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, every time Jay comes out, with a verse or a song, he's super conscious now, super woke, but at the same time, it's hot. You know what I'm saying? It's still dope. It's a different Jay. It takes some getting used to if been following Jay from the beginning, but it's not a preachy kind of woke. It's not a preachy kind of conscious. It's dope. Like it's more of a mature, version of a rapper that we all knew Jay to be. So I was feeling that track a lot. I like what Meek had to say on the track. And Ross always talks that shit. So that one, hands down, one of my favorite. Anytime you put Hove on the track, you're almost guaranteed to make that one of my favorite tracks on the album, as far as features go. All right, let's go back to the intro. So the intro, right? Intro, fire. I fuck with the beat, dope ass beat, the way it builds. It's a dope way to start off an album. But one thing about Meek I noticed, and I haven't always been a Meek fan. I mean, there have been songs that I fuck with Meek on, but I've never really been into Meek's music like that. Like I've never really been, you know what I'm saying? Yo, let me get that new Meek shit. But I've always said though, Meek has that kind of flow. He has that kind of flow and cadence And the beats that are chosen for him, they're they're really fire beats. Like I really like the way they match Meek's beats with him, his cadence, his flow, for the most part. Um, the intro was fire, bars were on point, but you know Meek always has pretty decent bars. It's just hard to always make him out because he be yelling a lot. And that was one of my earlier critiques on him, that he yells a lot. But when you really listen to what he's saying, he got some bars, and especially now more than before, after his recent, you know what I'm saying, shit with all the charges and the bullshit, Willian and violating his probation, and him spending all that time, unnecessary time, unjustified time in jail, waiting to get out because of this fucking judge. But yeah, his content is a lot more mature now. He still got that other shit sprinkled in, but you gotta have that, you know, to continue to cater to the core fans. So I fuck with the intro. The next track that I want to talk about is a track named "On Me." Now, this is a Cardi B feature. I didn't know how to take this track, right? Ask myself, if Meek was still with Nicki, with all the drama that Nicki and Cardi have going on, if Meek was still with her, would he do this track with Cardi, or would he ask Cardi for a feature, period? I don't believe so. Of course, you know what I'm saying, if you with somebody and they're having issues with another artist, you know, of course, you know, your part of your job is being loyal to choose that side. But are they on good terms? And I could be wrong, but Nicki don't strike me as the type of person who really rocks with disloyalty on any level. Like she strikes me as the kind of person that, you know, I'm just throwing it out there to see what y'all think. But she strikes me as the kind of person that if she has beef with somebody, and if you're cool with her, if you're in her circle, if you rock with her like that, she strikes me as the kind of person that she wouldn't take well to you rocking with that person if she has beef with them. I don't know, I could be wrong. But it kind of seems like this is not necessarily about Nicki, more about Meek. Do y'all feel like Meek is on his petty shit by doing this feature with Cardi? Because, I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid. It's like an elephant in the room. Everybody knows Nicki and Cardi have been on their shit lately. Yeah, they said verbally that they're going to squash the beef, but come on. Like, a lot of shit has happened. A lot of shit has happened, and it's been recent. It hasn't been that long since all this shit has happened. And maybe they are in a place where they're going to stop the beef, and that's cool. But this is an album that just dropped. So clearly this song was probably recorded weeks and possibly months ago, right? In preparation for the album. So it was just a petty move by Meek to get one of what, you know, we have found out lately to be one of Nicki's enemies, or at least rivals in this shit, for him to get her on the track. If it's petty, I fuck with Meek for doing that. I mean, I'm a member of the National Petty Organization. I 100% rock with anybody who feels like they want to take a stab at somebody without taking a stab. And we all know the old proverb, the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if Meek did this as a petty gesture, I fuck with him for that. All right, so now back to this What's Free track. On first listen, right, I was so concerned with hearing the track, hearing Jay's verse. That was my first focus because I had read this article. Then my second focus on the track was, okay, I'm hearing this Jay verse. Is it dope? And then, are there really shots being thrown at Kanye? I don't know. It's hard to say because Jay kind of talks in code. And what he was saying on the surface, I could see how this article portrayed it to be taking stabs at Ye. I didn't really see it. I mean, clearly, yeah, he did mention Ye. He did actually say Ye's name. But it didn't sound like what he was saying was like at Ye. And I could be wrong. Somebody may see it differently. But it was more so the situation he was speaking on. But to me, it was more against Trump and what he stood for than it was about Ye. Because he's basically saying, don't Ye me type shit. But what I didn't notice until the second time I listened to this song was that they sampling the What's Beef shit, the What's Beef Biggie shit. I really had to, I'm like, the second listen, I'm like, wait a minute, that shit sound real familiar when it start. And I'm like, oh shit, they featuring the What's Beef This is a sample, the West Beef fucking song that Biggie did. Fire, fire idea. Fire idea for them to sample that. To me, that made the song instantly a little bit better. Um, it sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a minute, and I meant to go back and listen to the West Beef Biggie track. It sounds like it's sped up a little bit, like just a little bit, like a few more BPMs, like maybe a couple more BPMs than what was originally on. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Respect the Game track. Alright, the Respect the Game. I like the tempo of the song. I like Meek's cadence, but I mean his cadence is it never really changes. In general, I like his cadence, but just because, and this is a sample of the Dead President shit from Jay's first album, Reasonable Doubt, which of course we know he sampled from Nas, but you know, you made it a hot line, I made it a hot song. Um, this kind of brought the song down for me a little bit, because if you're gonna sample anything that reminds me of a J track, especially on Reasonable Doubt, your shit needs to be next level. Like your bars, your cadence, everything needs to be like crazy on point. Because on that song, I mean that whole album was ahead of its time, but on that song, I mean the approach that Jay took to that song, ridiculous. I mean the bars crazy, the delivery, the lyricism. It was just a crazy ass song. So if you're gonna dare to sample something, and as soon as that something reminds me of a song from another artist I really fuck with, now I'm listening in a different way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just listening. This was an okay song. You know what I'm saying? I didn't skip it. You know, it wasn't skip worthy, but I start paying attention when I hear that you're sampling a song from an artist I really fuck with. Now I'm paying attention in a different kind of way. So it's more pressure. So that song would have been better to me, I think, if that wasn't the chosen beat for it. Just because then it makes me a little more critical now. The track Splash Warning. I skipped this track like within the first 10 seconds. Like if a song has a bad bounce, a bounce that I'm just not rocking with, I can't really get into it. I don't really care what you say. And you could tell when you've been a hip hop fan as long as I have, right? Something in here. You could tell what the content of a record is going to be based on the cadence. Like in most cases, right? Like unless a certain type of artist, certain types of artists know how to approach different, know how to employ different flow patterns, different cadences, different, you know what I'm saying, tempos, and how they're gonna spit their shit. Certain artists, I will give the benefit of the doubt. But Meek Mill, you know his flow, it doesn't really change. His cadence doesn't really change. His intensity is always like kind of like a 5 or a 6 by default, and then goes up from there on any given song. So when I hear a bounce like the one on the Splash Warning track, I don't like where it's going. 10 seconds, I skipped it. So that's the first track. That's the first skip-worthy song on the album. Part of how I review albums is based on the overall number of songs on the album. How many of those songs are skip-worthy on first and then on second listen? If it's still skip-worthy on second listen, sometimes if it's a track that's really moving, doing numbers, has a buzz, sometimes I might give it a third listen, because sometimes songs do grow on you. There's been several songs over the years throughout my tenure as a hip hop fan, and even R&B. There have been plenty of songs over the years that were skippable. Just skip right the fuck past them, and then for some reason later on, I'm like, yo, I fucking love this song. This not gonna be one of those cases though. You know, I figure if it's still skippable after the second listen, it's pretty much a skippable track as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I may like it. Let me know what y'all think about it. talked about, okay, Championships. Fire song. Fire song. The song production wise is really why I like it. The bars are there, but again, I never really, you never really hear Meek come with whack bars. I mean, at worst, he's usually just okay at worst. You know that he's gonna put together the bars with whatever it is that he's doing. So this song, production wise, the instrumentation, the tempo of the song, perfect. I mean, I fuck with the bars, fuck with the flow, I fuck with the different instrumentation that was going on, the placements. I fucked with the track sounded real clean. You know, it's something about different songs where the producer, if they know how to mix that track, you know, certain songs you'll listen to, and they're meant to sound rough, and certain songs are meant to be mixed clean, and different producers know how to play well with those different things. This overall was just a fire song. I fuck with it. Can't really tell you much about what Meek said as far as quotables and bars that stood out, but it's just the overall package of the song. Instrumentation was dope. The production was dope. I felt it was mixed very well. The bars were there. You know, even though I don't really look to Meek for bars, he's more of an energy rapper. He's more of a, you know what I'm saying, like get you wanting to like amp up a little bit if you in a club or if you whatever. That's the kind of rapper I see Meek as being. Although as of late, again, you know, his content's getting a little bit more mature with some of the recent shit that he's been going through. Going Bad. All right, yo. So this was the Drake feature. This was the, yo, Meek and Drake squashed the beef, blah, 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 whatever. Right? Here's my problem with this track. I thought it was so-so. I thought it was so-so. I didn't think it was anything special at all. Reason why I say that, if they were going to do a song together, Drake and Meek, I feel like this ain't the one. I feel like if they were going to do a song together, they should have done a song that Drake could really turn up on. Like this was, this was like mediocre Drake to me. You know what I'm saying? Like there are so many different types of songs they could have done together. Could have been like a club song. Could have been like a smash hit type song. And I don't really like their chemistry on the song. I mean, I appreciate the fact that they squashed their beef. You know what I'm saying? Meek he's on a different level now since, you know, he's trying to help push these, you know, different movements as far as these injustices with some of the shit that goes on with people who have records and who are on probation and get unnecessary charges and violations that aren't justifiable. So I rock with him for that, and I understand it, you know, and him trying to be on this positive wave, you know, him squashing the beef with Drake, you know, can be looked at as being good for hip hop, and that may be true. But if you go when Jay and Nas squashed their shit, and y'all know what I'm talking about, I don't need to repeat it. When Jay and Nas squashed their shit, first track I heard them on was Black Republicans. Fire. That's how you squash the beef with somebody. You got a beef, another artist, y'all ready to squash the beef, y'all ready to put all of that shit in the past. You come back with a Black Republicans. That's how you squash the beef. I don't think this song did it. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't for me. I'll say that. It wasn't for me. Almost slipped. Almost skipped. I almost skipped this shit. It wasn't a bad song. I say I almost skipped it because originally I was like, I don't really like the bounce. I don't really like the direction the song's going in. And then I heard a few bars that made me ask myself a question. And I'm really not sure on this, and I'm really not speculating. I really want to know what y'all think. Yo, is this song Almost Slipped? Is Meek taking shots at Nicki? Who's he talking about in this fucking shit? Who's he talking about? I'm real curious. I mean, some of the things that he was saying didn't seem like they would apply to Nicki, but then the way he was speaking on the situation, the way he was speaking on this previous relationship with this individual, right? It didn't seem like, while some of the stuff he was saying did seem like it could potentially apply to Nicki, some of it seemed like if it didn't, why would he be talking about it in a song almost in a way where it kind of seems like it insinuates that that's who he's talking about? You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. It is an okay track. It's better than okay if these are shots at Nicki. If this is like a let me get my shit off kind of song. So let me know what y'all think about that. But right now as it stands, if it's not no shots, it's okay. If there's shots, if this is Meek being petty and taking shots, I fuck with this song heavy. It'll be my second favorite song. It'll be my third favorite song on the album if he's taking shots. If not, it's just okay. 24/7 featuring Ella May. Initially, I thought it was a skip-worthy track, but I ended up listening to it, following through, so I did not skip it. It wasn't bad. I mean, you know, Meek got on his R&B shit, kind of R&B feel for this song. I'm not mad at it. It was just okay though. It wasn't nothing crazy. Like if I were to listen to this album again, and I'll get into what the replay value I feel is on this album, but if I were to listen to it again just on a long drive or whatever, I'm skipping this track almost every time. The only way I'm not skipping this song is if I'm on the road, zoned out, focusing on the road, and the song comes on, I hear it, I may leave it on. Other than that, I'm skipping this track 100%. Oodles and Noodles, it's okay, but I'm probably skipping this track too. The song Pay You Back, didn't like it. I don't really know why. Certain songs, I can point out why I don't like them. Certain songs, I can point out what the issue is, what I think is missing, what I think should have been there, what wasn't there, if the feature was right. For me, just based on my hip hop listening ears. Pay You Back, I couldn't figure out why I didn't like it. It's kind of like you meet a person and they just have a fucked up vibe, and you just be like, yo, I don't know why. I can't put my finger on this shit, but I don't fuck with this motherfucker. Like, that's this song. I don't know. I don't think it's one of those. I don't think it's one of those songs that are gonna be, you know, among the best on the album. I just don't. Somebody else may like it. I don't know. 100 Summers was okay, but I didn't like the beat. But I did like the bars, and that's what saved this song. 100 Summers, the beat, I felt like it wasn't a bad beat, because I don't really think I've ever heard a bad beat as far as a Meek song is concerned. Just the wrong beat for the album, and I think the wrong beat for his approach. You see what I'm saying? But overall, I like the bars, I like the concept for the song. I feel like if this song was executed right, because there are some bars in there. There's some bars in there. But if it was executed right, as far as the bars being on point with the beat, this could potentially be, you know what I'm saying, a song that people definitely play in their car on the way to the gym or whatever the case. With the shits, skipped it, didn't even give it a chance. Stuck in My Ways. I listened to some of it. I didn't like it too much. I didn't immediately skip it. I probably got, I'm gonna say halfway through. Didn't really feel it. Just what the subject matter was. It just didn't apply to me. I guess that's what I would say. Not that I don't like it, because structurally it's sound. The bars, like I said, typical Meek address. The bars are always gonna be there for the most part. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to rap. I think just at the time, it just wasn't, you know what I'm saying? As I was listening to it, I'm like, okay, yeah, eh. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't skip it. It wasn't my favorite. There's a song to go back. I missed one. With the shits, skip that altogether. Did not want, just I didn't like the beat so much I couldn't bear to listen to it. Is what it is. Dangerous featuring Jeremiah and P&B Rock. Love the beat. Love the beat. Bars were okay. Yeah, really nothing about the song at all that I like. Dangerous and I think that seemed like it was a lot of people's among their list of favorite songs. I couldn't see it. Maybe I'll listen to it again. Um, yeah, I mean that's just it, right? So, bam, overall. So what do we say? How many songs on this album? There are. I don't even have the fucking track list in front of me. It's so fucking sad. Um, I think there were 4 tracks that I said, 4 songs that I felt were skip worthy, right? There are if you count the intro, which I always do if it's at least 16 bars, and I believe it was at least 16 bars. So if you count the intro, 10, hold on, my bad. Um, 19, if you count the intro, it's 19 songs on this album, right? If, let's round up and say if 5 were skip worthy, but the rest of the songs were okay, it's a decent album. I got 4 songs definitely skip worthy. I got 3 songs that I think are fire, and I think the rest are okay. I'm not mad at them at all. The features, that plays a part too, right? And how I look at an album as being good or not. Certain artists can only survive off features on their album, and certain artists oversaturate their albums. A lot of new artists make this mistake too. They think you gotta oversaturate your album with features because people don't know who you are. So you have to get enough features with credibility that people could be like, oh, okay, they rock with him, then let me see what that person's about, or let me see what that, you know what I'm saying, female MC is about. And that's cool. I don't got no issue with that. But I think a lot of freshman albums have gone to hell because it's just too feature heavy. It's too oversaturated with features. And I don't think it's necessary. And I think Meek did a very good job at not killing this album with features. He has enough songs that it's just him and he's getting his point across. He has enough features with crazy mega icon superstars. And then he has some features with, you know what I'm saying, some people who are still on their rise. And I respect that. I fuck with that. So for that reason, you know what I'm saying, the album gets a little bit of a bump for me on that note. And then, overall, the whole production of the album, as far as beats are concerned, you know, I wouldn't say sonically, as far as the instrumentation goes, the music goes, the production of the music, I wouldn't say it's the best I've ever heard, but it definitely goes with it's a dope package altogether. This is a consistent rollout. This is consistent with what Meek usually does. The quality's there. I don't know quantity wise what the company wants to do, but quality is definitely there. I definitely will listen to this album again. I don't know how long that'll last because you don't really know how well an album's gonna age until that shit happens. Out of 10, I give this Meek album a 7. I do. Because, you know what I'm saying, he's got that socially conscious element in there since all of the things that he's gone through, and he's really been going out of his way to make the community better. I mean, to me, automatically there's points for that because you're applying it to rapping as far as he's using his star power. He's using his ability to make things happen for people, to make those decisions and do those things for people. And that was long before there was ever an incident. You know what I'm saying? So he knows that. You know, and Meek's approach too, I think, to this album was serious, but at the same time was like, yo, like he was having a good time. It was like serious, like, yo, Let these niggas know like I ain't forget how to rap. I'm let these niggas know like I got some whole other type of shit here. Like I got some more serious content for y'all to listen to. But at the same time, you could tell it was like, but at the same time, nigga, I still know how to have fun. So I fuck with the album on that level. It's well balanced. Then you go ahead and throw Ross, throw Hove on there. Fucking certified album. Certified. I give it a 7 out of 10. Too many skippable tracks for me. Too many skippable songs for it to be an 8 or a 9, in my opinion. In my opinion, it just, you know, it is what it is. And then I'm open to the argument. If somebody say, yo, I got this album at 8 out of 10. Okay, cool. Maybe just certain standards of ours aren't in line. Is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's the Meek Mill Championships album. Overall, I fuck with it. 7 out of 10. Probably won't be playing it in the car no time soon. I don't really hear any songs on there that's gonna be my go-to. And with you know, track list as long as it is, I think there's a there's a really good ratio of songs that I do like to songs that I don't. And it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Championships Meek album. This has been the album review. Let me know what y'all think about it. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about this album review. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love.